Hey gang, Chef Eduardo Garcia here in Southwest Montana in my shop slash garage slash storage unit for everything life throws at me. And it's coming up on hunting season, so this time of year I'm making some space in here. Actually, that camera guy that's holding the camera made some space in here. But this is our butcher shop too. So this is where we work on so much of what's in these freezers, what we dry, cure, pickle, brine, and freeze, and then eat for an entire year. So as a professional chef, there's so many tools that I've used to not only further my interests as a culinarian, but to get the job done, right? To just like do it well and do it right. And throughout my career, what I've learned is there's certain things you don't want to leave home without. Your passion, your heart, your head, your hand, and then a good blade. All right, we've got our Meatcrafter line in front of us. There's a lot of things to notice about the lineup. They look good. There's a variety here in both colors and handles and the actual metal on the blade. So I love that about the lineup. So we'll break it down. We'll go from the baseline. The essential component that builds the whole series is going to be this knife with the Bright Biz rubberized handle. Has a lanyard loop in the back, which I love. So imagine when this knife is in its sheath, locked in. Pretty awesome to be able to hang that depending on whether you're in your wall tent or where your kit goes. This is going to be a field utility knife for me. I'm going to use this for everything from eviscerating, gutting. I would take hide off with this. What we notice about this blade is that on the top side there has been metal removed to make the top edge of this knife thinner. My understanding is that gives us a really nice flex to the blade. So when I think about using this Meatcrafter lineup, specifically this knife in the field, I'm thinking about working around bone joints. I'm thinking about getting a knife into a body cavity where I want to have a really good handle on it, where I want a small thin blade that can go in to work around edges and work bone lines. So I'm going to be using this in the field. It's lightweight, love that grippy handle. I used it recently for a chicken butchery here on the farm. Found it performed very well. The other thing to note is that this knife comes with your CPM 154 steel. So this is a stainless carbon mixed steel. It's going to stay very sharp and it's very corrosion resistant, which we like if we're using it to butcher often, which I hope you are. So we're gonna move from our essential 15500 to the 15500 OR-2. So that's version 2 with the orange blade. This is going to be my next choice for going into the field with me. Couple things that are different than the essential. It has a S45VN blade, so that's the metal. That's the designation of the metal being used. As I understand it, has a higher carbide density, so that means it's going to hold its edge longer. That's a bonus for you and or me when you're in the field sharpening your knives. You want that edge to stay as long as possible. Next up, really love the ability to customize the color of the blade. We don't think of an orange blade in the field often, but I know that when I pull the essential up, I love this orange handle on almost a lot of my everyday carry knives because I don't lose them as often. So when I think about a big gear dump, when I think about gear that someone else packs up for me because they're cleaning camp, I like to be able to see where a sharp blade's gonna be, especially if it gets put down improperly, or like I said, there's things happening. I really love this as a field knife for the fact that it has that high vis blade. It's gonna stay sharp longer. And then I think second to that, this is what I would call your Ferrari of field deboning camp knives. Carbon fiber handle, so it's gonna be lightweight. I don't think it gets much sweeter than that for like a fixed hybrid. So when looking at the Meatcrafter lineup, we're definitely taking these two into the field, and the 15500-3 is also super applicable for being a field knife. It has that same S45VN blade, highly corrosion resistant, gonna hold that edge. It has an OD green G10 handle, which is gonna be different than our carbon fiber handle. So both great options. Moving from these two baselines to the Meatcrafter that I would put on my Thanksgiving meal, Benchmade has teed it up so that we can decide what finish we want on our blade, what metal type to use, the color of the handle, the composite of the handle, whether you're going with the carbon fiber or you're going with a two-tone or complete tone. Even the pivot ring, you have the option to change the color. That's pretty sweet. So when I think about this version, the customizable, that's the one I want sort of to grace my holiday table, to be in my kitchen. I'm gonna spend the dough on that one and make it Chef Eduardo's knife, right? And then I should say across the lineup, Benchmade went with a 14-degree angle, which is the select edge technology. So that is going to be a very fine edge. If we get into the technical world of sharpening knives, you're gonna sharpen a knife dependent on the criteria for the knife to perform every day. So depending on what you're chopping, slicing, dicing, or working with, you're gonna sharpen that edge for a reason. This knife, the Meatcrafter knife, was designed for fine muscle work, right? Very beautiful cuts. So whether you're butchering and trimming, whether you're slicing a roast, that 14-degree select edge technology is gonna be one worth noting. And then across the entire lineup and also on all Benchmade knives is the Life Sharp guarantee. So at any point in time, if you want to take your brand new blade, ship it back to the factory, they will put a factory edge on that. So it's kind of like Christmas Day. And for me, that's just a nod saying, hey, this should last you your lifetime. Send it back to us and we'll put an edge on it as if it was the day that it arrived in the mail. So that's pretty neat.